Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Lecter George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
We continue our coverage of Best Served Cold, Joe's first standalone and the next First Law entry after the original trilogy. On this episode, we review Fish Out of Water and 6 and 1. So let's get started. Hello, everybody. Thank you once again for your support. As always, we're going to do this every single episode.
That's right, because we owe you nothing.
We were just saying a minute ago, weren't we? We've made our full first dollar in ads.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. $1.
So the 100 or so of you that listen to an advert.
Hey! Whoa! We can't even speak to our fans anymore, like directly, because they just go rabid. Once you start making that big money, everyone's after you.
This is gonna go a long way in terms of covering the cost of this for quite some time.
You've made exactly 10% of 1 month. And it only took 2 years.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's great. Love it. Well, I mean, and those ads aren't forever, right? So that's always good. Right, George? They don't run forever. They just run for a certain period of time.
Yeah, I think they run for about 50 downloads or so. So they're very, very rare. Most people probably haven't even heard one that's the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know what it sounds like. Like, where would they put it? But
I have no idea.
We really should have checked that out. I think we should have. I think at least one of us should have listened to an episode and been like, wait, where are they inserting this fucking ad? Imagine it's it's during the middle of best meme of the week, or
yeah, it's right in the middle of the segment. Probably, I'm sure it is. It's in the intro song. You can hear it playing over it.
Oh, those cocksuckers. All right. Well, yeah. So we want to thank you all for your support. We want to, encourage you all to continue to follow us on our social medias and our YouTubes. We're noticing we've gotten a couple more subscribers lately, which is cool.
Despite our lack of activity.
Yeah, seriously. The fuck is wrong with us? But yeah, so head on over. We're a Circle of the World podcast or a COTW podcast. Yeah. And you boys want to jump in with any kind of reminders or anything?
No, I think
no.
All right.
Not really anything in the pipeline at the moment, but surely something's coming this year.
Yeah, hopefully a lot more consistency on YouTube. That's what's coming this year, hopefully.
We're definitely going to, for anybody that's interested in listening to these episodes on YouTube, we are going to start slowly uploading those again. It's just such a fucking long job, I probably uploaded 10 a couple of months ago, and then I kind of fell out of the habit of it. So.
And the more episodes we record, and just have it uploaded to Buzzsprout, the further back we're not. We got to get caught up, man.
The battle's just never ending. It's just so hard.
so hard. Okay, well, but yeah, everybody, just if you don't mind, support us some more. Let's move on to our next segment, which is the best meme of the week. As usual, Georgie boy, this is you, so take it away.
So we've got a spoiler one for Best Served Cold, and for it's not really a spoiler, is it? For the Age of Madness.
Yeah.
I mean, it is if you've forgotten the entire first trilogy, but So this is from Lickshots 419. He's had quite a few of these so far, and it's the Geordie LaForge meme when he's just like, Bennett fucking his full sister, no way. But also fucking his half sister. Oh yeah, I think we should be into that. As most people in the fandom seem to be supportive of that for some reason.
Yeah. That's what's interesting about it, right? Is that's how there was just some unfound. I mean, Ben is a complete dickhead, which we'll find out soon enough. But Monza. Yeah, you wonder how much of it is just carryover from I don't like Monza as a character, so they don't like that and they think it's so fucked up. But then those same people will also be like, well, they're only half.
They're only half siblings. It doesn't count. What the fuck?
Yeah, there's definitely some cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're also going to have an honourable mention this week for Shira Mansaron, who posted to the first law, but it was also posted in the House of the Meme Maker with the lovely Gloctopus drawing, which gave us a nice chuckle.
Gloctopussy.
Yeah, yeah. It's Gloctop's head mounted on octopus arms, carrying various instruments of torture. One of them being a wine bottle opener. It's pretty great. You should just go to the first law or House of the Meme Maker to look at the picture. It's amazing.
Yeah, and for the other one, it'll be linked in the description.
Oh, that's such it's a masterpiece, as X Serp X said.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, here we at the Circle of the World don't discriminate. We're all good with both incest types. So, wait, is it the other one? Are we supposed to do the opposite?
What?
We're not good with incest. Shit.
Harrison, we need to have a discussion off air. We need to talk about your homeschool curriculum, all right? I don't know what the fuck. Moving on. We at the Circle of the World podcast are not pro incest. We must make that clear. I think we.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. Okay. So let's move on to our first chapter read through, which is Fish Out of Water. And this is from the perspective of our boy Shivers, called Shivers. And he is he's struggling right now. He has no coat. It's cold ass wind ripping through, chapping his ass and all that. And he's thinking back to nice memories of being in the north, sitting by a fire, talking to the homies, in Ufrith, being in a good house there. With a belly full of meat, head full of dreams, all that jazz. And he thought back to when Vasula, this guy Vasula, who was the Styrian that told him about talons, said that the sun always shone in talons. And that's why Shivers sold his coat before he left, because he's like, why would I need a coat if it's gonna be hot? Turns out,
Genius.
Isn't that like an eternal fucking struggle as well? But I'm like that. I'm like, should I bring a coat? I'm gonna be hot if I bring a coat. Fuck's sake, Shivers. The entire journey, really?
Seriously, like, why would you sell your only coat, your good coat? Now you're living up to your name. Now look at you. So,
I guess that was one of the things that stood out to me in the beginning here. Is like, we forget how young Shivers is. I mean, he's like in his early 20s, like very early 20s. He's like 21, 22, he's very young still. So it makes sense, that he'd just be like, what, sunny there? I'll just sell my coat.
I feel like by this time, at the very most, he's like 25, I think. Like you said, early 20s, I think.
Yeah. I don't think he's older than 25 either. Yeah. And, it's pretty funny too, because, it's like, how could he be this naive? But like, he also, all he knows is like fighting, some, growing up in the north. Like there's so many things that aren't taught that we think are that come naturally to us that we are actually just taught anyways. So like he doesn't know there are seasons, like not in other places. He just thinks it's cold all the time in the north, so you always need a coat. He's not thinking about how if the sun is out, you know what I mean.
Well, I think
necessarily warm,
right?
Yeah. I mean, plus I wouldn't say he's ignorant of seasons. I mean, they farm in the north, and therefore you need seasons. There can't just be winter. I just know, like, when it gets cold, it gets super fucking cold in the north. But yeah, Shivers.
I think there's definitely a chance for that Shivers is just completely misunderstood. Like there's been a loss in translation or something to him and Vasula. He wasn't actually trying to get him to go there. He was just like, reminiscing about his home. And Shivers just go, oh yeah, that sounds fucking great.
Yep. And you never know. Vasula is just talking it up, like you say. He's homesick, and I don't know, like, why lie to Shivers? So I think it's. I don't know.
What a dick.
But yeah. So we're with our boy Shivers. He's at the docks. A bunch of people are there. They're all huddled around. They're looking for work. Not to be inconsiderate, but it's like the cliche movie stereotype of a bunch of Mexicans outside of Home Depot. That's what we're imagining here at the docks, here in Talons.
I was picturing more of the like the Great Depression kind of thing.
Oh right, yes, soup kitchens and all that, long lines.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Maybe we should take that part out.
You take the Mexicans out.
Whoa!
Don't make it about race, Jeffrey.
George, take the Mexicans out. How dare you?
Oh God, don't take me out of context, please.
Here, we use this term instead. The ethnic men.
Oh God, that's even worse.
Oh shit.
But no, seriously, in all seriousness, these guys are, they're desperate men. They're, looking for work at the docks, like I guess on the ships that go out to sea fish, right? And they're desperate men, but they were born here, whereas Shiver was dumb enough to have chosen this life. So, as they're waiting, Shiver's, he takes out the last bit of bread he has, the hard heel of bread, and he's taking like a little bit of a nibble, just savoring every little crumb. Then he sees that the man next to him is kind of just like staring and licking his lips. So Shiver's kind of just he goes, oh God. So he breaks some off and he hands it to the guy, and he just like wolfed it down. Shiver's like, yeah, no big deal, no worries. And then other people start looking at Shivers, and he goes, all right, what the fuck? If I had enough for everybody, would I be here? And so then, they kind of like are all grumbling. Here we find out that Shivers has been here 10 weeks. He's been here for quite some time. And so now a boat had came in, and hold on, let me get my bearing straight again. Sorry, guys.
All right, man.
Do you guys want to jump in? I don't know. You want to say anything?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We were kind of questioning last time. It's been a little bit since I think each of us read Best of Cold, just by how it lines up. We all kind of read the series through, but we were all like, I wonder how long it's been. Well, it's been 10 weeks, approximately. I mean, we know that Monza was approximately thrown off the cliff around the same time that Shivers got off the boat. At least it seems to line up, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it does. It seems to. George?
I just like how Shivers actually gives this guy some of his bread. I think that's... He didn't have to. Like, he's a hard to fight in man, and he's like cowed by this guy, like looking hungry over here.
He just feels bad.
He just feels bad for it. I think that's quite
it kind of plays into the fact that Shivers, despite we'll see. He is very empathetic.
Has a heart of gold. Great guy. So so a boat has come in by now, and they're tying the workers and the fishermen from the boat. They're tying it off at the quay. It's called, seems like, the docks, whatever. So everybody there is like, they're getting ready. They're excited because they think, maybe the captain of the ship will take on some people to work. This captain kind of like, he comes forward and he says he needs 2 people. He says, you and you, obviously didn't choose Shivers. And Shivers, he's like, hey, fuck this. So he walks up to the guy and he goes, it's a nice boat you have here, which is a great way to open. And he goes, what do you think about taking me on? And the guy asks Shivers, like, what do you know about fishing? And Shivers responds by saying, well, in his mind's eye, he's like, well, I'm a proven warrior, a named man. I've killed a lot of people, taken some wounds, but I don't know anything about fishing, really. So he tells the captain that he used to fish a lot when he was a kid, but at the lake with his father. And then the captain goes, at the lake? No, we're focusing on sea fishing here. And Shivers admits that he has no practice at it, but he's willing to learn.
He hasn't learned to lie on his CV yet.
Yeah, no, he he didn't get the hacks for Indeed.com yet, and so the guy, even though Shivers is willing to like work hard and learn and stuff, the guy is like very dismissive of Shivers, and Shivers is not the biggest fan of it, but he's like, well, I just want to can you just give me a chance? And then at this point, the captain gets a little frustrated, grabs like a piece of wood, and he goes, away from my boat, yeah, big pale bastard, whatever, and or some terrible Italian accent that I'm not even going to attempt to do. But at this point, Shivers gets mad, and he goes, listen, I might not be a fisher, but I've always had a skill for making men bleed, so you better put that down before I make you fucking eat it. And then the captain kind of was like, uh-oh, and he drops the wood and kind of just like, I don't know what to do here. And then he just turns around and starts yelling at his guys. So that's one way to just make an awkward situation kind of go away. So he's, Shivers, turns around and walks down an alley, and he's just pissed. He's just going, it's the same thing with the Smiths, the bakers, every trade in the city that he's been looking at, right?
And the candlestick makers, yeah.
The butchers, the bakers.
I was like, what?
Thank you, George. My man.
Yeah. So George, not George, goddamn it. So Shivers is not happy, and he's reminiscing about everything that Vasula has been what he was saying about Styria, that there's work everywhere. All you have to do is ask. And then it said, and the Shivers, is coming to terms like with the idea of that. He says it seemed that for reasons he couldn't fathom why, that Vasula had been lying out of his ass the entire way, which we love to hear. And then, that he didn't ask Vasula the one question that he should have asked him. That if Styria is such a slice of wonder, why the hell are you up here in the north? That is a question he should have asked, right?
Yeah, definitely. Before hopping on the boat, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe if you were thinking about it, maybe you should have asked Vasula where he should have went, specifically, instead of just taking his grandiose proclamations to heart.
Yeah, it kind of seems like Shivers just hasn't left like the key in the entire time that he's been there. He's just been like sitting at the docks waiting for someone to come along and give him a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely coming at this from a very socialist angle.
For socialist,
I'm not even.
Surely somebody will give me something to do. Surely they're paying me. Surely I'll have some place to stay. I mean, come on. What kind of barbaric savages are these guys?
I don't even, George. Do you have? I don't even know what to say to this guy.
Just let him have his bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, thanks for that. And then Shivers is like, he's letting his pride get to him. I think here, right? Because he starts thinking about what he's done. Right? He's done. He stood next to Red Three Trees, Blacked Owl, Dogman, Harding Grim. He's Rattleneck Son. He's a named man who's faced death in all weathers. He's held the line against 1,000 Shanka at Dunbrick. He's led the charge against the Union near the Cumnor. So that's when he was fighting for Bethod. Fought 7 days in the high places. This man has done a lot, and now he's scrounging for bread, hard bread, old bread in fucking Talon Styria. Thanks, Vasula. But really, it's Shivers' fault. Yeah, he made this decision without any proper planning or foresight.
Yeah, it's almost like this is definitely something that he sees it like he doesn't realize is a flaw. Well, something bad will happen to him, even though it's fully his decision. He'll just blame somebody else. He definitely has an issue with that.
Mm-hmm. George?
I mean, yeah. And do you find it interesting that he said that he led the charge at Dunbrick? Does that mean that there's a chance that Shivers is the one that killed that Lord Smund?
Could have been.
No, he's not actually, because he meant he was up in the painted. He was up in the painted shields.
I mean, okay, is that what he means?
Yeah. He means like he was like in the front line, like he led the charge down because
Oh,
that other maneuver was like they flanked him with cavalry into the camp. But
well,
okay,
yeah, that's true.
That's just ruined my my bit there. Thanks.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever got any notion that Shivers was a cavalryman or like had any skill at it, right? I don't think
I don't
so.
think any of the named characters.
okay, we don't want to keep putting George down, Jeff. Okay, just
sorry. Okay, so basically he's not feeling too great about himself, and he looks up at the sound of footsteps because he's down this alley, and there are 4 men. They're following him, I guess, from the docks, and they have mischief in mind. You can just tell. And Shivers goes, "Oh my god, here we go." They kind of circle, like surround him a little bit, and then he, one of the guys says, "Hey, what do you got for us?" And Shivers just straight up goes, "Listen, I wish I had something that's worth you, taking from me, but I don't have anything. You might as well just go your way." So there's one guy that he calls Ratface. That guy says, "Well, how about your boots?" And then Shivers goes, "Well, in this weather, I'll freeze to death." And then, Ratface goes, "I don't give a fuck. Give me the boots before we give you a kick in for the sport of it." And then Shivers is not happy, but whatever. There's 4 against 1. It's ridiculous. He's not gonna try. It's fucking Talons, right? So he starts to pull his boots off, and then out of nowhere, he just knees the guy he calls Red Nose right in his nuts. And then then he smashes Ratface on the chin, then grabs him and throws him into somebody. Then the bald guy, who he calls Baldhead, he had a stick, tries to hit Shivers with it. Shivers dodges it, sweeps him out, fucks him up, all that jazz. And then Baldy is spitting teeth in the gutter. Red Nose was curled up, with his hands between his legs, but the other 2 had knives out now, and it's like ruh-roh. And Ratface goes, "Okay, you're gonna kill you, threatening words, blah blah blah." Then out of nowhere, his legs come out from underneath him, and he's screaming, and someone comes out of the shadows behind him, tall and hooded, sword held loose in a pale left fist, and then this person comes out of the shadows. Oh, sorry, hold on. Someone comes out of the shadows behind Ratface, tall and hooded, sword in their left hand, and the rest of the thieves, the would-be thieves, the one guy that's left is that with the shitty teeth. That's what Shivers. That's how he describes him. And then he kind of sees like it's a whole ass sword versus the little ass knife he has. And then we hear a woman's voice say, "You might want to run for it." And it's like, ooh, a little caught off guard. So we see that Shivers is a sexist. And then, and then, Ratface is screaming, "My leg, my leg." And then, this woman says, "Stop whining or I'll cut the other one." Baldy was lying there just saying nothing. Red Nose finally fought his way, moaning to his knees. And then Shivers, he kicks him in the nuts again and again, beats the shit out of him, saying, "You want my boots, huh? You want my boots?" And then he looks at the newcomer, the new lady, and he asks her, "What do you want?" And then she says, "Nothing you'll have trouble with. I might have some work for you." It's like, oh, yay. Then we get a bit of a time break. But before that, you guys want to chime in here? Okay.
Yes.
I think there's the. It's clear now that Shivers is the. You can definitely tell that, despite him being a socialist, he can also be sexist. That's I think that's a lesson to all of us. Just because you're a socialist doesn't mean you're not an ass.
Mm-hmm. I would think if you are a socialist, you are an ass. But okay.
You're such an '80s child, Jeffrey.
Maybe so. Maybe I pray at the altar of Ronald Reagan. I don't know. So let's. So we get a bit of a time jump, right? And we, a big plate of meat and vegetables and gravy, bread. It could be tasty, could not have been, but doesn't matter because Shivers is shoving all of it into his mouth. This man is eating like he's never eaten before. I imagine him eating like Ash Ketchum did back in the days of Pokemon cartoons. Just yum, 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 yum. Or like Goku, the Dragon Ball Z guys. That's what.
Or Kirby.
Or sure, Kirby. So he's looking at this person that's seated across from him. Wink, wink. Still has their hood up, but he can tell that this is a good looking woman. Good looking, purty, and everything. She's strong. She's got a good face. He likes the nice fierce line of jaw and a lean neck. But he knows that he figures that she's dangerous, obviously. And she has a glove on her right hand and scarcely used it. A limp, he noticed too. And she also has 3 long marks down her one cheek. We wonder who this could be. I think it's pretty evident who it is.
It's fucking Monza, yeah.
It's the other character in
the other
story.
character. Yep. Yep. Exactly. So they share a little bit of banter. She asks him if he's hungry. He goes, "Yup." Long way from home, all that jazz. And then, so he says to her that she hasn't told him her name, and he goes, "Yep. I mean, I'm the one paying, so it's whatever I say." He goes, "Okay. Well, why are you paying?" A person I know said to never expect nothing for free in Styria, and this is Vasula he's talking about. The one time he gave him good advice, I guess. And Monza tells him that she needs something from him. First things first, he needs to take a bath because he stinks, which is understandable. And then after the bath, he is to go find this man in a smokehouse. His name is Kazam. And
his name is what, Jeffrey?
Kazam?
No, his name is Sir Jam.
Sir Jam. Sorry.
Sir Jam. I think they're every word.
Kazam. Sorry. Okay, so Sir Jam, and he's supposed to tell Sir Jam that Nakomo demands his presence at the usual place, and then Shivers is to bring Sir Jam to Monza.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
sorry. And then I wonder how much of this I'm going to keep in. Probably all of it. So then Shivers asks Monza, "Why don't you do that yourself?" And she just jokes, says that she's paying him to do it, obviously. So if you bring Sir Jam to me, then you get a scale. And then you can decide that you still want fish. You can buy yourself a barrel full of fish with the scale. So I guess it's a 1 golden scale, I'm assuming. And then he goes, Shivers is kind of mulling this over in his head. A fine-looking woman to come out of nowhere, save his life, and then make him a golden offer. That his luck has never been this good, but he just finally actually had a whole meal, so he's not going to really turn this down. So he goes, "Sure, I can do that." And then she goes, "Good." And then he's like, "Or you could do something else after that and get 50. And he's 50. He's like, "Whoa, all right."
I want to say as well, this bit in the audiobook's brilliant because his voice is just like 50.
Really?
That proper breaks it. It's so good.
That's amazing. I love that. So she says, so then he goes, "Okay, well, what do you want for 50? And she says, "Not much." She repeats herself, basically. She says, "You go into a smokehouse and ask for a man called Sir Jam. You say Nakomo demands his presence at the usual place. You bring him to me. And then you help me kill a man." So he goes, in his head, he's like, "I'm not surprised if he was honest." Like, there's really only one kind of work that he was good at, and there's really only one kind of work that anyone would pay him 50 scales to do. But sometimes, once you're, like the Dogman said, once your hands are bloody, it's not so easy to get them clean. And Dogman had told him that when Shivers was still pondering trying to get some revenge on Logan. Remember? Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "All right, well," she gives him a knife, and he says, "I didn't say I'd kill anyone." And she goes, "I know what you said. Don't worry. It's just to show Sir Jam that you mean business." And he goes, "All right, but I didn't say I'd kill anyone." "All right, then. We understand." Bit of a time, break. And then we, before that, boys, do you want to chime in here real quick about this little scene?
I think I'm...
No, not yet.
So there's a bit of a time jump, right? And we get to the smokehouse. We're in front of it. Shivers, he has the knife up against him, in like his belt or whatever, and he goes, "Oh man, he's just, really questioning his choices now at this point, but whatever. Sees this heavy door. There's a guard, a big guy standing guard. Two guys standing guard, sorry. And, one of the guys asks him if, do you need anything? And Shivers says, I'm here to see Sir Jam. And the guard asks him, hey, are you armed? Shivers is honest. He gives him the knife. He's like, here you go, good sir. And then the guard's like, okay, with me. So then they walk into the smokehouse. It's very smoky. It's a lot of secondhand smoke. Shivers' eyes are kind of like watering up a little bit.
He's like, God damn!
Yeah, so it's like an opium den, basically, is what we're kind of getting a sense of, I believe. So, and then he gets into this room. Then there's like a big table, and there's people sat around it. And there's a big man sitting at the head of the table, the chief's place, as you could say if this was the North. And it's an older man, his face creased like leather past its best. His skin was dark, short hair and beard, dusted with iron and gray. So he was messing around with the little gold coin. And then, the guy that was leading Shivers in walks up to him, whispers in his ear. And then, I guess they both make eye contact. And then Shivers just asks him, loudly, so everyone, he could hear him. He asks him, are you Sir Jam? And he's like, yep, Sir Jam is my name. Mm-hmm. And then, as all my friends will tell you, so he says, you could tell a lot by a man from the kind of weapon he carries. And then he's like examining the knife that Shivers brought. And he goes, it's not cheap, but it's not expensive. It just does the job, no frills. Sharp, hard, meaning business. Am I close to it? And, Shivers like, yeah, something around there. Yeah.
You think he does this bit for every single person that comes in?
He absolutely does this bit. Sir Jam definitely does this bit.
Sir Jam, listen. He's that kind of guy who, like, if the first time you meet him, you're kind of impressed by him. You're like, okay, this guy kind of knows his stuff. But, like, if you hang around him all the time, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You use the same line 6 times. He's the guy who tells the same story over and over and over again. Like, utterly exhausting.
He starts doing it, and all of his henchmen are like, oh, for fuck's sake, not the fucking weapon. Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. No wonder fucking Fridley immediately goes, yeet.
That's very true. Very true. Hold on.
I also want to say I really like Stephen Pacey's choice for it, Sir Jam's accent.
Oh yeah,
like I love it's sort of vaguely Caribbean, like Jamaican-ish.
It is. Yes.
Wow.
Very unique.
Just because Sir Jam is black, this is racism at its worst. God damn it! Why couldn't he be Australian?
Oh, whoa.
I'm just saying,
Jeffrey.
Accent,
it's because Australia isn't a real place, Jeffrey. Everybody knows that.
It only exists on TV.
It only exists for the Aboriginals.
Not anymore, apparently.
Not
Jesus.
No, it does not. Oh boy. Oh, white people. Anyway. Should I leave that bit in? Should I take that out?
I don't know. It's kind of halfway in the middle.
I just make a decision on the day. Like, I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'll leave that bit in.
That sounds kind of okay. So we'll leave it in.
Kind of okay.
They can only half cancel us for that one.
Maybe. So Shivers goes, all right, yeah, with your little thing about the knife. Okay, sure. And Sir Jam asks him what's his name. He says, my name is Carl Shivers. And Sir Jam is like, ooh, brrr, ooh. And he could tell that he's from the North because he says you're a long way from home. And he goes, yep, I know it. All right, so here's my message for you. Nakomo demands your presence. And then Sir Jam's face is not happy no more. He's not smiling. And he goes, where? And then Shivers says, the usual place. And then Sir Jam goes, oh, demand, does he? Mm-hmm. That's big and bold of him. And he says, why would my old friend Nakomo send the big what Northman with the blade to talk to me? And then Shivers goes, look, ask him yourself. I'm not here to, like, exchange questions or anything. Nakomo demands your presence in the usual place, and that's all. You now get off your fat black ass before I lose my time.
Never mind. He is socialist and racist and sexist.
He's all of it. He's all of that.
But what's great, I really do like this part though, because like the way Shivers talks is like so real. Like so many times in like a lot of series, like whenever there's a part like this, you know, the person's like, I gotta convince him. Oh yeah, I gotta play the part. And Shivers just like, I'm just doing a job. This is what I was told to say. That's all I'm gonna say. Now fuck off. Like I'm not here for all this other stuff. I don't care. I'm just here to do a job. That's it. And I really love how like human it is that he's like, dude, I don't care, man. Just come on.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole now get you off your fat black ass before I lose my temper. That's that's a little
That's a little harsh. Harsh.
That's not even harsh. It's just like Shivers trying too hard here, but then that's why there's like a bit of a pause. And then Sir Jam's like, I like that. Do you like that? And he's talking to one of his guys. He goes, I guess if it's all right.
I don't want to do this bit because it's the same voice he gives Goyle.
Okay, go ahead.
It's all right, I guess, if that style of thing appeals.
Yeah. That's great. I am wretched.
I'm wretched.
You are less than wretched. Okay. So he goes, large words, bluster, and hairy-chested manliness. Too much gets boring, but sometimes a little can make me smile. So Nokomo demands my presence. Well then, let's go. He never let it be said that old Sir Jam reneged on a debt. If Nokomo is calling, the usual place it is. And then he'll keep a hold of the knife for quite some time, for the moment at least. So now there's a bit of another time jump, and they get to the place, right, that Monza had shown him, and the rotten garden was dark as a cellar, all this jazz. So, Sir Jam's like, where's Casca? This is the Nokomo that they're talking about, if you were a first-time reader. Shivers is kind of muttering to himself. He's like, this bitch said she'd be here. And then Sir Jam's confused. He goes, she? What the fuck's going on? And then we hear another a woman's voice. It's Monza again. She goes, over here, you old prick. And now, Shivers can see her clearly, like her hood's down. And, she's like, oh, she's very pretty. Obviously went through some stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it was pretty. And Sir Jam's face now it's gone slack. He goes, oh, you're alive. Yep. And then he tells her straight up, like, you shouldn't be in Talons. And he says her last name, Mercato, and that she shouldn't be within 100 miles of Talons. Shouldn't be within 100 miles of Sir Jam. And then he starts like, complaining to God, like, why could you not have sent me to lead an honest life? and Monza's, they exchange like insults here. And then so he asks her like straight up, like, what do you want? And she wants to kill some men. She wants his help. And he goes, sure, the Butcher of Capril needs help killing, huh? Okay, cool. As long as none of them are too close to Duke Orso. And she goes, he'll be the last. And he goes, oh, this bitch is crazy. And then he goes, you can't do it. You're never going to be able to do it. And then she goes, well, what if I could? Come on, don't tell me you haven't wished it, all these years. And he goes, yeah, all those years when you were fighting for him, get the fuck out of here. And then she goes, that he killed Benna. And then Sir Jam is like, oh, the bills, when they say the bills, I think he means like news bulletins or yeah, right? They had said that Duke Rogan's agents got them both. And then Sir Jam had pointed to, some papers that were on the wall. And Shivers is looking, and he sees it's a woman's face and a man's face. And Shivers just realized that the woman is this person. It's Monza, killed by the League of Eight, Sir Jam says. And everybody was so upset, that she was a hero around these parts. So that's what they call you when you kill so many people. The word murderer falls short.
I love that line. That's such a good line.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a very good line. George, what
Bias is a hero. So is Logan. Logan's a hero, right?
They're all heroes. Everyone's a hero.
Yeah.
They're all heroes in the circle of the world. George, did you have anything you want to say?
No, I was good.
Okay. And he says that Orso gave this big speech and said that we all had to fight harder than ever to avenge Monza, and that everyone cried, all this jazz, and that he's sorry about Benna. Sir Jam is sorry about Benna, that he did like the boy, but he says to Monza that she should make peace with her devils. And Monza says that the dead can forgive and the dead can be forgiven. The rest of us have better things to do. She wants his help and she is owed. Pay up. And he goes, oh, Jesus. He says that she'll be the death of him. He asks her, like, what? Okay, what do you need? And she just says a point in the right direction, introduction here or there, that kind of stuff. And then she needs to borrow a man with a cold head and a good arm, as in a guy that keeps his cool, a man who, wouldn't mind getting some killing done. And then Sir Jam just says, And then he turns his head and he calls over his shoulder and he says, do you know a man like that, friendly? Excuse me? Squeeze me? Who? What? Who this? Who this? And then we hear footsteps coming out of the darkness from where Shivers was. And it turns out somebody had been following them all along and doing it really, really well. Shivers and Monza are like, oh, snaps, what's going on here? But the guy just kind of he just trudges up. His eyes are like looking downcast. He's shorter than Shivers, but he's like solid. He's a very solid look to him. And then Sir Jam introduces him. He says, friendly, this is an old friend of mine, name of Mercato. You're going to work for her for a while if you have no objection. And the man just shrugs in answer. So I guess he just has no problem working for the stranger at the immediate behest of Sir Jam. And then Sir Jam asks, what's your name again? He says, oh, Shivers. So, okay. So we're all acquainted with each other, we think.
And it is interesting, I don't know about you guys, but for some reason, until this read through, I always thought of Shiver as friendly, as kind of like, short and stocky. But then I realized that it only said half a head shorter than Shivers, and Shivers is like tall, even for a Northman, which means Shivers is probably like 6'4" or 6'6" or something crazy. So Friendly's not a small dude. I was incorrect.
He's a big fucker. He's kind of like Ghost.
Yeah,
right. In terms of build.
I think Gorst is taller, though. I think Gorst is either at the same height as Shivers or taller. I know Friendly it says half a head or more shorter. So what are we talking? Like 6 inches, 5 inches?
Right.
Well, it depends on how big his head is.
Yeah, but Shivers is a big Northman, though. And Shivers is like tall for a Northman.
He's tall.
He's got to be like, I don't know, 6'5", something like that.
Yeah. So at the very least, Friendly's like 5'11", 6 feet. Something like that. He's still stocky, though. Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. Damn, boy.
He a big boy. He a big boy.
He's thick. He's a thick ass boy.
Yeah. So then Mercado asks Sir Jam, is this guy a good man? He goes, this is the best man I know, or the worst, if you get on his wrong side. I met him in safety. And Mercado asks him, what had he done to be locked in there with the likes of you? And Sir Jam just says, everything and more. And then there's like just silence. And then she goes, for a man called Friendly, he's not got a lot to say. He goes, yeah, I think they gave him that name ironically. And it's like, okay, so we learned that safety is a prison because she says irony in a prison. And, everyone gets their own kind of sense of humor. So also Monza asks Sir Jam for some husk now, which takes him by surprise. He goes, oh, I thought it's more like your brother's style, not what do you want husk for? She bullies him. He's like, all right, fine. And he just gives her like something right out of her jacket, a little baggie, I guess, a dime bag maybe. And then she'll let him know when she needs something else. And he goes, oh, of course, you're just, again, he repeats that she'll be the death of him. And then Shivers gets his knife back from Sir Jam as well. And then he goes, if you're going to stick with Monza, though, I suggest you find a larger blade because, yeah. And he looks at the three of them. He goes, you three, going to put an end to Duke Orson. Listen, when they get you, just die quickly and keep my name out of it. So that's nice. A lot of confidence, even in the guy that he let Monza hire. And so then Shivers turns around, is making eye contact with Mercado, Monza, and she says, what about you? She could still use another man. Do you want to just take the scale, or do you want 50 more? Because remember, she offered him 50 initially. And, he thought about it. He was, he was not so sure. So he goes, the man that we're going to kill, what did he do? And, at first Monza's like, what the fuck you want to know that for? It's like, I'm paying you 50 scales. Isn't that enough? He goes, no, not for me. And she says, oh, you're one of those guys that need reasons, that need excuses. She goes, you guys are hard to predict. But if it helps, he killed my brother. And this hits Shivers because obviously we know from Shivers' past that a certain brother of his was killed by a certain other individual way back then.
Yeah, it's kind of like his entire motivation up to this point.
Yeah, basically, it was.
Well,
and
that's what I kind of like the parallel here. Like, from Shivers so far that we've seen in this book, he's trying to let everything go in the past. He's trying to start a new life. So this kind of is a reminder of why he's here in the first place.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, he's just, I guess he's putting himself in her position, or at least he's not doing that. That requires like too much empathy, I think. But he's familiar with the notion of like losing your brother and what that does to the people around you. So he goes, fuck it, give me the 50. And that's where the chapter ends. Dun, 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 dun. So Shivers and Monza have now met. Boys, how do you rate that chapter?
Hmm.
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because
I
want to give it a 5 because I'm impressed with how quickly Joe gets the plot moving in this book compared to how long it takes in the blade itself. We've got nearly like 3/4 of a book of build up before anything happened. I like that Joe's writing style has kind of developed to the point where he's comfortable with just going along with stuff. I do like that.
It is kind of hard, right? Because, having read the books before, I actually do try to base them mostly off of, like, if I read them for the first time, with some exceptions. And so, because obviously, we know what's going to happen and things like that. And so I'm trying to, like, imagine it as a first time experience. But it's kind of difficult, too, because, like, in this case, it seems kind of boring because it's just setup, really.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, George. The plot is moving a lot. So I think I'm going to give it... I reckon a 4 for me is what suits me. Just because it does feel like setup. Remember the first time reading it, kind of being like, okay, yeah, like I'm into it, I'm ready for it. But I can tell that we're gathering characters. Joe's got to start anew. He's doing it well, and but Shivers to me, his chapters are probably like the least interesting. So it's difficult for me to rate them well, to be honest. Okay. It's a well-rated chapter. In fact, I'm gonna put it at 3.
Oh shit!
I just I don't know. They're okay, but it always feels like you're just going through the motions, even the first time reading it.
Okay, interesting. I was gonna give it a 4 too, but yeah, I'm still gonna give it a 4. Just this is like, okay, finally, it seems like we're starting the journey of Monza's quest for vengeance. She's got her first couple homies that are gonna join her on this little spiritual journey. And here we go. So we just got Shivers being more despondent. His situation has taken a turn for the worse, and now financially, it's going to improve. Otherwise, other, aspects, we're not so sure. But yeah, I'll give it a 4 out of 9 fingers.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Noise. All right, we'll move on to our next segment, which is our character spot. Boys, who are we going to spotlight today?
Sir Jam!
Sir Jam?
Hang on, wait a second. Hang on. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the book now.
Mm-hmm.
It's spelled S-A J-A-A-M.
Kazam?
I think it's pronounced Sajam.
So what? So what?
To be honest, when I listen to the audio, but I do hear Sir Jam.
It's Sajam.
Sajam.
Sajam. So you let me say Sir Jam the entire time, George, and you listen to the goddamn audiobook, and you just gonna fuck me over, huh? I'm just
I'll let you say Vosula as well.
Yeah, the Basula was pretty hard, but he was so committed to it, you know? He was saying it more and more confidently each time. I didn't want to.
You said Vasula?
It's Vosula, isn't it?
That's what I said. It's Vasula. Didn't I say that yet? What did I say?
You said Vosula like 5 times.
Oh, whatever.
Anyway.
Vasula.
Anyways, so Sajam is the character spot. He is, as we kind of notated earlier, he's kind of like one of those guys who's like, he knows his stuff, but like he kind of just does the same thing. He always does what's, usually safe. He doesn't really go outside his comfort zone. But at the same time, he's a man of his word. Which is actually quite rare inside of First Law. So respect to him there.
Mm-hmm.
He does kind of pull like a almost a betrayal. Like Friendly just walks up and he's like, "Oh, I'm here to kill you, but not really. I made you think that, but not really."
Made you look. Made you shit yourself.
But no, it's interesting to see like this sort of other side to the First Law. We've seen a lot of like the official stuff that happens in the Union and the North and stuff like that. But now we kind of get like the seedy underbelly with all these like crime lords and these weird sort of interactions. Like I can imagine that Sajam just sits in that smokehouse like all day waiting for people to come in so we can talk about their fucking weapon, give that speech.
But at the same time, right? Like he's reliable and he does follow up on his word. Like that's what I like how Joe's characters are always like this every single time. It's like they may be a certain way, but almost all the time they have like this very human aspect to them.
And he's only in two or three. I think it's 2 chapters, isn't it? Something like that. And yeah, he does leave an impression. So it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And so we wonder that there's definitely an extensive history between him, Monza, and Nakomo Koska. Interesting little side character we met once or twice in our previous readings. So I wonder if I was a person reading this for the first time, are we going to learn more, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
God damn it, you guys are just leaving me to hang here.
It's all right, Jeff.
It's okay. Do we want to say anything else?
No, I think.
Okay, fine. Okay, so is that it? You want to call that over?
Do you have anything else to say, Jeffrey? Did you want to say something else about him?
About Sajam?
Yeah.
Well, let me think. In terms of Sajam.
Now you're stuck on it, aren't you? You're stuck on Sir Jam now.
I'm stuck
you said it. You said it like 60 times so far.
I am stuck on everything. We just see, I don't know, we not really much to go off of just based off this one interaction. We see that, okay, I'm assuming he had something to do with the 1,000 Swords, whatever that company is, the mercenary company. But he probably doesn't anymore. Like he was probably in that cohort, whatever, back in the day. And now probably is off doing his own thing, probably runs like some kind of underground crime ring, maybe, not sure.
That's interesting. I always figured, like, judging by how Monza interacts with him, he's kind of like just some guy that Nakomo knows from before, and Monza knows him by relation because of, well, we'll see in the future how the relationship is with Koska, but he was like a guy to find reliable stuff, find information. He's kind of a crime boss kind of guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I just think there's got to be something else to it because, she says that he owes her, right?
Yeah.
So Jam owes her. So I'm like, all right, you don't really, like, it's, for that kind of thing, that's normally like a blood debt. I got the feeling from, where there's not really a price to pay necessarily. She just says, you owe me, so dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder.
So I don't know. Could be wrong. I could be wrong.
No, it's a good point. It makes me wonder what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what else? That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So we're going to move on to our second and final chapter read through. A shorter episode, folks. Since the first two came out, we're like an hour and 30 or whatever. So this one's titled 6 and 1. And we start this one from a brand new, fresh perspective. Our boy, Mr. Friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. Can't be the only one clapping. I said a round of applause. That only exists in my ears, Harrison. Actually clap.
Sorry, Jeffrey.
This is the worst round of applause ever.
Oh, Jesus. You guys are killing me. All right. So anyway.
I clapped. I just thought I was just a bit late.
I snapped. Yeah. I snapped my fingers
So apparently the dice come up 6 and 1. That's the first sentence in Friendly's perspective is the dice came up 6 and 1. It's okay. It's the highest dice can roll and the lowest. Fitting judgment on Friendly's life, the pit of horror to the heights of triumph and back. Okay, so we're getting a lot just from dice. All right. And then it says 6 and 1 made 7 years old. Back when Friendly committed his first crime. So started young. Okay. But it wouldn't be till 6 years later when he was caught and he got his first, aka 1, sentence. And then that's back when they wrote his name in the big book and earned his first days in safety for stealing. But he couldn't remember what he stole. So this guy's he's done a lot, apparently. So now he's just throwing the dice. And he loves throwing dice, as we shall see. He feels like joy, anticipation, jubilation, all this stuff. He's just excited as he throws the dice and he sees the dice turning. This man really likes dice. Really likes dice. Really likes counting, I think. Go ahead, George.
I like to think that this is some kind of magic thing, but we all know that Friendly's just really autistic.
He's autistic as fuck.
It's like a grounding thing, right? It's something that keeps him centered and know who he is and where he is and what his goals are and everything. And I think that Joe does an excellent job at portraying this. Like it seems like he's kind of just giving you exposition at the beginning, but no, this is just how his brain works. He's able to operate because of these dice.
Absolutely. It helps him give him context to things. Like he needs to understand everything through these numbers in order to make sense of the world.
But at the same time, he really understands things because he's looking at it in that way.
Yeah. And it's also like what you guys said, both of you is like, in terms of keeping him grounded, it might portend good omens or bad omens. Like he rolled twice and got 6 and 1 both times, and he smiled because to him, the odds of throwing 6 and 1 a second time were 1 in 18, long odds, looking forward into the future. You know what I mean? So he has like a very unique perspective when it comes to numbers and dice. I wouldn't peg him for a gambler, but I know he would be a great dealer. That's a fact, right?
Nice.
Hell of a croupier.
Yeah. So then he hears a voice that says, "What do the dice say? What does the fox say?" And then
double referenced it up, man. Look at you go.
Sorry.
Within the context of our own communication and the context of social media. Wow.
Woo. Friendly looks up because it's Shivers. Shivers had asked him this question, and Friendly is sizing him up. He goes, "This guy is a big guy, but he isn't like lanky, not like stringy. And he's not slow like a farmer or a laborer. He understands that what's the work going to require. He could tell that the guy was, Shivers was a soldier probably. He fought in battles by his scars, by the way his face is, just the way it's set, and the look in his eye. Not comfortable with violence, but ready for it. And he's not likely to just like lose his head and run away like a little or anything like that. But men that keep a cool head when trouble starts, he goes, "Okay, yeah, this guy, he got it." And then Friendly answers him. Not even that. Before that, sorry, he said that there was a scar on his left wrist, on Shiver's left wrist, that if you looked at it from a certain angle, looked like the number 7. 6 and 1. 7 was a good number today, apparently. And Friendly says that dice don't say anything. They are dice.
The line delivery, and especially like Pacey, is so great.
Well, how does he do it? Tell me.
George, you gotta do so much better of an impression of him than I do.
Dice say nothing. They are dice.
Oh my god. This man is so autistic. Oh my god.
It's just like the delay and everything. It's great.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And then he goes, and the Shivers ask him, well, then why roll them? Right? And then Friendly goes,
they are dice. What else will I do with them?
And it makes perfect sense.
Shivers is just like, what, okay.
He's like, yeah, this motherfucker's weird.
Oh my god. And then Friendly grabs up the dice, and he's like, he holds it close to his face almost, and he's like, ooh, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna do 6 and 1 again? Ooh. The odds of throwing 6 and 1 for a third time were 324 to 1. Very, very autistic. But 324 was the number of cells in safety. A very good omen. So this man is calculating all of this. This guy is great.
I mean, he can tell the fucking future. We've got a fucking... I've just looked this up, but apparently somebody tells the future with dice is called astragalomancy.
Sounds like something from Warhammer 40k. Yeah,
it does. It definitely sounds like something.
It sounds made up. It's not a real profession. I'm sorry.
I don't think it is anymore. I don't think you can go and see one. Like, okay,
no, there is one. Yeah, I'm sure it's called a fortune teller.
Oh, good lord. And then so they Shivers whispers to him, oh, they're here, and there's 4 people, 3 men, 1 lady of the night, and. I wanted to say something nicer. It just says 3 men and a whore. I'm like, just God, that's a little rough. Come on, man.
Lady of the night.
I find it interesting as well that it says that you can hear a night bell tinkling, like they've all got fucking bells like cows or something.
Yeah, what's a night
bell?
I don't Maybe we should elaborate.
George, get on this. I should know, Harrison. This is you're the Adeptus Historical. You should be on this. Find out what a night bell is. And then, so these 4 people are drunk. They're laughing. They're, walking down the alleyway. The dice would have to wait. So he's just, oh, man. So he wraps them carefully in some cloth 3 times. And tucks them nice and tight. This man is very peculiar. So maybe he's not autistic. Maybe he just has OCD. I don't know. Maybe he has it all. Who knows? Anyway.
Just some kind of fucked up.
I don't know. You know what? Maybe a little bit, because when Shivers asks him, hey, what's the plan? Friendly responds by saying 6 and 1. So I think there's a communication snafu here somewhere, I think. But Friendly, he gets right to it. He goes, he pulls up his hood and he starts walking. And then he goes up to one of the guys, and he basically says, because we can hear that one of the guys is talking. It seems like he's talking himself up. He goes, what did you think I did? I kicked until he shat himself. I told him Duke Orso likes men who say yes, blah, 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 right? And then out of nowhere, Friendly says, he asks out loud, Gaba? Oh, we know Gaba. We remember Gaba, right? Folks, from the prologue, from Ben Mercado Saves a Life. And this is Gaba was the bodyguard of Duke Orso, if we remember. And Gaba's fat head snaps around, and he goes, what the fuck? And Friendly stops, and he had counted the steps he took from the place where he rolled the dice. 41 steps. 6 and 1 made 7. 7 times 6 was 42. Take away the 1. This man, God damn it.
He's a fucking genius.
He's a genius. This man loves math too much. And Gaba asks him and goes, hey, who are you? And then Friendly says 6 and 1. This man is...
He's misunderstood. He's a misunderstood genius.
That's what you want to call him?
Yes, every autistic person's the same way though. So
Right. That's mean. That is mean.
no, it's true. They're almost all of them are very smart in their very hyper specific ways. Friendly is extremely good with numbers. I mean, like,
so Friendly says that he's 6 and 1. The guy next to him, was like, "What the fuck are you saying? Get the fuck out of here, you mad fucker!" Doesn't even get to finish it because Friendly's cleaver had cleaved this man's head open down to the bridge of his nose, and then the guy on the left is like, "What the?" Before he even gets to do that, Friendly's already crossing the road and stabbing him in the body 5 times, and then he slashed his throat on the backhand, and then there's a bit of a pause when Friendly is breathing out nice and slow, and the guy with the giant gaping hole in his face is on the ground, and the other guy with the 5 stab wounds and the blood pouring from his throat, on the ground. And then Friendly says, good, 6 and 1. I am still confused as to what happened because the guy had 5 stab wounds, then the one in his throat, that's 6, and then the one dead guy, 6 and 1. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Are you guys keeping track? Because I'm barely keeping track. And then the Lady of the Night starts screaming. And then Gaba goes, "Oh, you're a fucking dead man. I'll kill you." And then Friendly goes, "Oh, when? Tomorrow?" He's being sassy now. "Oh, we like this. Okay." And then Gaba's about to say something, threatening, I guess. But then Shivers comes up behind him and cracks him in the back of the head with the stick. And the guy just collapses out cold. And then, Friendly says, "Not tomorrow, not ever." And I think he's still finishing the conversation he just had with Gaba. And then he looks at the Lady of the Night and he goes, "Why aren't you running?" And then she runs away. And then Shivers is like looking down at like the carnage and he goes, "Jesus, by the dead." And then Friendly goes, "Welcome to Styria." And that is the end of the chapter, folks. I'm just as confused as everybody if you were reading this for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. I still do not know what a night bell is. I have been trying to find one. It sounds to me in the story like it's an actual bell.
Yeah, it's definitely an actual bell because he says he hears it tinkling.
Yeah, so what? Yeah. It's probably like a bell she has like on her
collar.
So
it's just in the First Law universe. Apparently in Styria they put bells on the halls to stop them running away or something.
Ladies of the night. Ladies of the night. We are pro sex work here, goddammit. I mean, I don't know.
That makes you sound worse, Jeffrey.
I know. Fuck it. She's a whore.
We have to add that to the long list of political stances that we've taken on this show.
I know. She's a whore.
Whore. You kept correcting the whole time. Lady of the night. Lady of the night. You didn't even say the woman or the lady. You just said the lady of the night.
Lady of the night. Anyway, all right. So, what would you guys rate that chapter?
Harrison, you go first.
It's kind of weird, right? It's a really short, and you know how we feel about short chapters, but I feel like it introduces Friendly in such and Friendly's character in such a good way. Like you could have this one chapter be in here and feel like you understood like the premise of Friendly's character, and I like that. I think it's written really well. It's really unexpected. It really gives you like, oh, okay, we're getting some more variety here in the book. And I actually really like this. It's really funny. I think I'm gonna give it a 6 on a knuckle.
You hate Shivers.
I'm right up there with you. I'm gonna go with the 7 as well because I think Friendly is one of the most unique characters that Joe's ever written. And this intro of just absolute fucking ludicrous number fucking. It's just incredible. And like you said, the first time I read this, I was like, "What the actual fuck is this guy like?"
Mathematically tinged murder and mayhem. It's great.
But it's just such a breath of fresh air. You could have had like just your typical brooding another revenge obsessed sort of murderer. Instead, you've got this guy who's just like, "No, I'm going to follow what the dice tell me to do."
Yeah. The dice don't say anything, but they speak to me. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Oh, we love Friendly. You know what? I'm going to give this chapter a 6 out of 9 as well. I know it's just an introductory chapter, and it was pretty short. It was. But it's Like right from the get go, 6-1. He goes, excuse me, what was this? What does this mean, friendly? Who are you? 6-1. What are you saying, man? 6-1. Okay, and he's doing the calculations of the odds of throwing dice. 6-1, two times, 3 times. It's and he's fast as shit. Cleaved one guy's head open and stabbed another guy in 5 stab wounds and cut his throat in the span of seconds. This is a talented guy.
Yeah, he's definitely not averse to violence. Like,
definitely not.
And he's very perceptive as well. Like he takes shivers in like a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. He's able to accurately assess that Shivers is not just like a criminal. He was a soldier. I was like, okay, I like that, friendly, interesting, and he has a little bit of some snark to him, the way he was talking to Gaba, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I guess by just answering people's questions as to what's his name, he says 6-1. That's probably part of the. I imagine it's got to be part of the charm. I don't know, but it's something. It's something. All right, so 6, 7, and 6. Love that. 6-1, 6-1. Anyway, that's our episode. I kind of do want to call out. No, actually, no, I don't. Never mind. I was going to say that, remember, Josh, a Bloody Niner, he said that we were super harsh on the first Shivers chapter. I don't think so.
Yeah, we did get that criticism. I don't think we were. I think we're just being realistic.
If anyone had any criticism, keep it to yourself. No, I'm kidding. Send it our way. Why not?
Just send it our way. Fuck it up. We need to know. We need validation.
Yep. And we have a bonus segment for you. We are going to break down Samuel 4 from Feast of Crows. You guys ready for this? All right.
Let me get my fucking. Oh my god.
Where is that? Where's my book? I don't know. Actually, maybe we'll hold that off for a future episode. I don't know. All right. Well, that's our show. And now that's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the 3 of us, and your support really does mean a lot.
Join us next week as we cover bloody instructions and poison.
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're on Reddit. And we have a website. It's circleoftheworld.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any podcast app that you use. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast. Thank you all again for listening.
Welcome to Styria.